All right. So today I'm here with Kaitlin Popanda. Now, did I say that correctly?
Yep, Popanda.
Popanda.
Yep.
And she's the director of Just for Kicks in Park Rapids, which is a dance studio.
Correct, yep.
So what is Just for Kicks?
So Just for Kicks is a company that was built by Cindy Clow in 1981, and she actually started the business in her basement. And she just kind of woke up one day and told her husband, she's like, I want to do this. And so they did, and it's incredible because they have over 200 programs in the United States, mostly Minnesota.
Mostly Minnesota. Okay.
I would say mostly, yes. That's kind of where it's more based out of. But the Dakotas, Wisconsin, there's a program in Florida. It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I saw there was, even Washington, Oregon, Texas, Illinois. It's really kind of a regional
deal. It is. Yeah, it's incredible. And this woman, Cindy, is so down to earth and so amazing and very inspiring. And
Cindy Clow,
Cindy
said?
Clow, yep.
Okay.
Cindy and Steve Clow.
Where did they start that first studio?
So I believe the actual first was in St. Cloud. It is based out of Brainerd. That's where the home office is.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So all of us actually here in June, all of us directors will come together in June for our annual directors convention. So we have directors fly in from all over, and we hold that at the Brainerd Just for Kicks dance studio, and we kind of just get together and kind of just improve our skills, and they're amazing.
That's
great
a lot.
to work
That sounds
for.
like a lot of fun. So she's still involved in the business then.
Oh yeah, definitely. And her kids, Allie and Jared and Joel, are very much involved, including their spouses and their kids. And it's a completely amazing family-owned business, and they just have done such a good job. And of course, they've hired all these amazing directors to kind of run our own program. We're very much, I'm very much in charge of the Park Rapids program.
Okay, yep. I was going to ask you about that.
Yes.
So it's not like there's a set curriculum that comes from on high that you have to implement?
Not necessarily. There's definitely some parameters. They kind of, what's wonderful about them is they do have such a hard, wonderful base for us.
Yeah.
But we definitely can make our decisions, and they trust, obviously, us to make those decisions. One thing that's company-wide is our spring and winter shows. They have our themes picked out for us, which is wonderful.
A little less thinking to do.
A little less thinking, and our spring show is Vegas themed, so we have different songs from that that are themed around that Vegas theme.
So that goes with the music too.
It does. Music and decorations, and they make it very accessible and easy for us to run an incredible program.
So you can focus on pretty much just the dancing and the teaching and stuff like that, and they do a lot of. So do they have to get licenses for them to use the music and all
they
that?
Do.
Stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
they do.
And they take care of all of that.
They take care of all of it, which is great.
Yeah, because you don't have to sit there and be having to think about writing to ASCAP or whatever.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. We have a website that we just go on, and all of our music is on there, and they do have choreography that we could go off of. I kind of do my own stuff because I like to make it Park Rapids. Sure. I like to make it our own. But it's wonderful. We have lots of, avenues to go to. So
okay, so before we get any further on the structure of the whole thing, so why don't you just kind of tell me what it is? I know it's a dance studio. It's a place where kids can learn and then also compete.
Yeah.
But so just give me an overview of what goes on at the Park Rapids studio. Let's just say.
So we have classes at the Armory and Event Center. We actually rent out 3 spaces on Monday and Wednesday nights.
Okay.
I have 7 different coaches, and that's including myself. So 7 of us on staff.
Yep.
So classes are running all night long, Monday, Wednesday nights. We teach from ages 3 to 18. We actually have some adult classes as well.
Yeah, so I looked at your schedule and I saw there was one for 12 plus.
That's right. So if you want to join.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, well, actually, I want Caleb to join.
Okay.
Yeah. he could have more use for these skills, I think, than I could. So,
there you go. We almost had one gentleman join us this last last year, and I was like, he should. It's so fun, and it's just for fun.
Well,
like
maybe
the
it'd be a
adult
nice
class.
place for somebody like Caleb to meet a young lady too.
There you go. Lots of nice women come to those classes.
All right, let's stop picking on Caleb. Okay, so so the classes are at the Armory.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And do you pretty much run them every night or?
Yeah,
okay.
Monday, Wednesdays. So we start, like, my first class is at 3:15, and that starts with like littles. So we do, like I said, 3. We've had some like 2.5-year-olds before if they're ready for it. And I run classes like myself until 9:00 at night.
Oh.
And that's like obviously onto the older teams.
Sure.
We have our main core class is kick, which is kind of like high school dance team.
Yep.
If you're familiar with that. But we also have like jazz, we have lyrical, we have hip hop. Kick is our main, the main one, our core classes. That's kind of what we start with when they're little. But we also have tiny hip hop, which is like 3, 4, 5-year-olds. We added that.
Is that breakdancing or?
It's just like more funky and more attitude, and I love it. That's like one of my favorite classes to teach because they're just like sweet little kids who like to get sassy, and it's so fun. Yeah. So.
And then I also see that there's tap dancing too.
We do not offer tap.
Oh.
We don't. We actually, yesterday, I work in the summer at La Pasta, and somebody was asking me about tap. Do you think you'd ever add tap? And I'm like, well, if I ever found an instructor that, could teach it. Yeah. I mean, that's something that I'm not going to say no.
Right.
But yeah, our core stuff is kick, hip hop, lyrical, and then I think I said jazz. And then pom is something that we're kind of looking into a little bit as well. It's kind of like the new rage, kind of something.
What's it called?
Pom. So it's kind of like jazz. So it's
what does it stand for?
I think it's just like the pom poms. They just
like
have
cheerleading
like
style.
cheerleading kind of, So so that's something we're kind of looking into. We have got some kids that are interested, and it's kind of the new like up and coming excitement, and so I'm looking into adding that this next season. So and how many students do you have like enrolled at any given time? So this last year I had 238 kids.
Wow.
That's
a lot. That's a lot of kids to keep track of.
It's a lot of kids. A lot of kids.
You also have a staff as well.
Yes, we do. Yeah, and they're incredible. And honestly, so there's 7 of us total. My sister is one of them. She's been with me since the start. Just it's so nice having her, and she's so great to like bounce stuff off of, and she's very honest and a great coach. We also have, she used to dance for me as well, and my mom, because my mom did this as well. So, and then Drew is, so my sister's Haley. Drew also danced for me, is my sister's age. She does our jazz class, lyrical classes. We have Erin, she danced for me. Jamie, she also danced for me. It's kind of like these kids who've I've watched them grow up. And they've stuck with me, and honestly, incredible people. And then I've got 2 assistants, Casty and Abby.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's just it's almost like you think of it like we had Nick Bretson here talking a while ago, and it's sort of like he's like the head instructor, but then so some of the people who he has trained have actually come up and got to the point where they can kind of almost take over and run the classes,
right. But, and you can trust them.
But you can trust them because you raised them up yourself. They dance for you,
right?
So the quality of instruction that they've been given, be like basically, through the tree of knowledge that flowed from you.
Absolutely,
right?
And they've been so good to me. Like I can honestly say that they are the best, and like I feel like I've built this program, and it's because of that. Like they are just on my side all the time, so I'm appreciative.
So I read in your bio that you moved here in the 8th grade.
Correct, yep.
And where did you move from?
So I'm originally from Waconia, Minnesota.
Okay.
And my parents just kind of had the dream to live on a lake. And my dad traveled for work, so it was kind of like, well, he can kind of go anywhere in Minnesota.
Sure.
So we just got up and moved here to the good to the good life.
And you said, okay, that sounds good, Mom. However, I would like there to be a Just for Kicks studio.
Correct. Yeah. That was the only thing. It's funny now because I have a 12-year-old, so she'll be going into 7th grade next year. And I think about if we uprooted her, and she is like such a good friend group, and she's involved in so many things. I just can't imagine that. But it's strange to think that that's how old I was, a little bit older when I moved up here. And that was the only thing I told my parents. I was like, I just want to be able to continue dancing. So my mom drove me to Frazee because there was no program in Park Rapids every week for dance, and braved the bad weather and because that
could be a really
it was no fun sometimes.
How many times a week were you driving to
It was only one time a week, because that's what's so crazy about, you know, Just for Kicks in general. Like when I danced, we only had kick. We didn't have hip hop. We didn't have lyrical. We didn't have jazz. Like, it's just incredible, like how far it's come. So I only did it one time a week. So it wasn't too bad.
Different day for each different style.
It was it was Monday nights in Frazee, which is, I mean, that's kind of what I've stuck with up here is, well, Monday, Wednesdays. It kind of works with sports, because you don't want those kids to have to miss out on their sporting events if they're involved in both. I'm super supportive of kids being involved in multiple activities, and I always want to make it work for them, you know. So very much like, you know, if they have a basketball game on Monday night and they have practice.
So you're encouraging people to do dance plus the, I guess, traditional organized sports in school and all that,
especially in a small town. And you don't want kids to have to pick at such a young age. It's kind of unfair, I feel like, at times. So I know that, like, my own daughters themselves, they play basketball, and I'm like, that'll be, you know, some, like, will it ever come to that? And I hope it really doesn't for them, that they don't have to pick, that they can make it work, and that they're hard enough workers that their coaches understand, like, this is just a hardworking kid who wants to be involved in multiple things. So,
and you're giving them a lot of options and exposing them to different environments and situations and everything like that. And they can make a choice at a certain point. So.
Right.
All right. So what is the sort of average time commitment? Like, let's just say that some parents are considering putting their daughter into dance. I don't know what that is. The average starting age like somewhere around 5, or is it usually younger than that? Or okay.
So our youngest is like, well, I shouldn't even say it's 3, because we do a mommy and me class now too. That's 18 months to 5 years. So I've had little 18-month-olds at class before, and it's great. But mom is there with them, which is nice, because it's kind of a good introduction to me and to, like, just what we do at class. And I run it like I would run a normal class. Like, this is what we do with our littles. And but as far as time commitment goes, it kind of depends on what your kid, you know, decides what classes to be in. So regular core classes is, you know, little kids, it's like a half an hour, one time a week. When they get to like kindergarten, first grade, it's 45 minutes once a week if they're just involved in that one class. If they branch out and they're in lyrical and hip hop and all the others, it can be up to 4 to 5 hours a week.
Okay, so it's really kind of just how much you want to put into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do, like, definitely encourage, I mean, I think it's great when kids are involved in more than just one class, because they just, you know, their quality of dance is so much better when they're involved in multiple. Plus,
it strengthens the other styles probably to have that sort of diversity and experience. Right?
Absolutely. And it's more investment. Like, they're involved. They're there with us. They're involved in, you know, with their team and with their coaches. And it's more. It's better for them. So
on average, would you say that the kids will usually decide to do more than one? Or
I would say typically. So, and that's kind of just been like growing, you know, this is my 10th year. Like I had said that it's just the more the kids do and the more kids see, because they get to watch, you know, other
they get to watch the older girls and stuff like that.
And they kind of, you know, they look at them and think, I want to be just like them. And so then it kind of evolves into a little bit more. So I would say most do take multiple classes.
Is there any interaction like between the different age groups and stuff like that, or are they mainly just kind of kept separate?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do this last season was the first time we've ever done it, but we did like a competition night, because from 2nd to 12th grade they go to a few competitions a year.
Yeah.
And then we actually took
and I want to ask you about that.
Yeah. We took a kindergarten first grade team this year for the first time. And so we did a competition night, and it was one of the best bonding
You mean
nights.
just a local competition night, you mean?
It was just at the Armory, and all the kids came. We kind of ran it
kind of like a dance recital.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was kind of like a rehearsal for it. And we sat and they clapped for each other, and we acted as if it was competition. We announced them. And
that must have been really helpful for them.
It was great. And it was. And that was kind of the goal, is to help those little kids not be as nervous for an event so big. Because, of course, when you get to the event, there's hundreds of kids there, and it runs very quickly, and they get there before to practice a little bit, but then we're on. You're on stage, and it's kind of a big day. So I just wanted to prepare them for it. So
you said you have 2 of these competitions annually, or
the older kids do 4. So that's let's see, our 6th through 12th graders do 4 a year.
Yeah.
And then our 2nd, 3rd graders do 2 a year.
Yep.
And then our 4th through 6th grade, some of our 6th graders with our hip hop teams and stuff, they do 3 a year. And then our kindergarten first grade class that went for the first time, they did 1.
Okay. So does your class cycle kind of revolve around getting them ready for these competitions and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it's in the back half of our season. So the first part is kind of focusing on just technique and getting them back into it, and stretching and all the strength, exercises, things that we do. And then we have our winter show. And then that second part of the year, we're also getting ready for more performances, because we do a lot.
Yeah.
But the competitions is our focus, for sure.
And you've been doing this as an instructor for how many years now at this point?
So let's see. So I've been the director for 10 years.
Okay.
But I also coached with my mom for 5.
Okay.
So
you've got quite a bit of experience.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm just kind of interested in sort of your thoughts on getting these kids ready for competition, especially sort of the mental side of it, because they go over the routines and everything like that, and they probably have those down pretty well when they're at practice and stuff. But how do you coach, especially the youngest kids, to kind of get ready to get on stage and perform when they're expected to do well, in a competition or something like that? How can you kind of walk us through sort of the process of getting somebody mentally ready to do a competition? That's
a big thing for sure. And I actually feel very proud of what our coaches do for those kids, because I really feel they are ready. They take the stage, and I don't doubt that they're gonna do, which is just to make us proud.
That's amazing. Yeah, because then you're building confidence and skills that they'll be able to translate to other areas. But
right.
So how is it done?
Yeah, it's kind of just weeks leading up to it. We definitely run them through it, tell them what to expect. I think that's a big thing, is you need to tell kids what they're going to expect and what is coming up. And we talk to the parents actually a lot about making sure they're talking to their kids about, what dance do I do first? And because if they're in multiple classes, they're dancing lyrical, and then they have to change super fast, and then they're dancing hip hop. It's quick. So I also make sure the parents know, prepare your kids, make sure they know what's coming next. We do a lot of team bonding, things. We talk about it.
Right, because there's individuals dancing, but then there's team and group dance. Okay.
Yep. So it's all of the, we do have some soloist stuff. We did this last season. We had, I want to say it was 6 kids that did solos this year, but most of it's team based. This was the first year that we did actually have kids do solos. Okay. And it was great. It was wonderful. And I honestly think there'll be more next year. It was awesome. But as far as our team goes, we do a lot of little chants and cheers, and you guys might think this is funny, but it was a tradition that started a long time ago. But I actually bring a can of hairspray, and we call it their spray of good luck. And when they're in the chute, right before they go out to dance, we spray them with hairspray. And I'm not kidding; these kids have I mean, it's like drilled in their head. They're like, did you bring the spray of good luck? Like, they want that. Even the older ones, they're like, they want to make sure
even
that
the 12th graders.
They love it. Yeah. And actually last year I had 5 seniors graduate and I gave them all a bottle of the same hairspray when they graduated.
What kind of hairspray?
Aussie hairspray, baby.
All right. Just so we know.
Yeah. It smells great.
Is there really good luck in it?
I just feel like it's something that it's just traditional. Like it's something I don't know. And I do. Yeah. And I feel we definitely drill in that just to have fun. Like it's so much more than just like the winning. I want them to have fun. Yeah. Like it should be fun. It shouldn't be a bad day. It should be a fun day.
How about just dealing with nerves in general? You know, like especially because I can imagine like the real young kids are just like, maybe some of them are just like, I don't want to do it. You know, like how, like what's the antidote to that?
Yeah. We're big pump up coaches. Like we can pump them up pretty.
Can you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I can honestly say I've never had a kid not go out to do it. If they have a little nerves, and we see the nerves, and I tell them it's normal to have butterflies. I get butterflies, like that's a normal thing, and I've been doing it for a while, and I still get that feeling, and that's a good feeling to have, like that adrenaline, and but I can honestly say I've never had a kid not go out there, and I can truly say that I think that they step out there and it's game face, like they know what to do, and I will say like doing multiple competitions helps. Because they get to get through. You do it. They just it's experience, and we never did it as young as especially kindergarten, but we never had done that at the beginning, you know. But now that we do it, it's been incredible. It just prepares them even more for their like future.
Well, I got to think that if a child can go out in a dance competition with a bunch of her teammates and have to perform well and you know in a coordinated effort. You know, going up and standing in front of a class and giving a talk about biology or something like that, it's got to be really easy, right? Yeah. Or else even just like thinking in terms of like a job interview or something like that. You know, like if you have been through situations where you know that you have to do well and you have to put your best foot forward, even on days where you're maybe not feeling that great and everything else like that. Yep. It's such a great characteristic or tool that a person can develop at a younger age.
Absolutely.
And, you know, so it's you can really see how dance could help with that.
Absolutely. And that's truly like even at the show I had mentioned that my favorite like success over the 10 years has honestly been like those kids that needed dance more than just dancing. Like they needed it because of like the confidence and self-worth. And I can honestly say like there are kids I've watched kids like blossom. And
I was gonna say like do you ever see sort of like a personality change over the course of time?
Most definitely. And there's been even I'll mention Jamie because she works for me, and even Jamie, like little Jamie, like was so quiet and so shy and so reserved, and it really truly I feel like dance changed, you know, to make her a little bit more outgoing and confident, and her and I have had multiple conversations about that. Like I'm like, you were so you know, you've changed so much since you were younger, and and she can say that has helped her for sure.
So I saw also on the website there's 3 qualities we've touched on. I think probably all 3 of them, but more on confidence. But then there's also friendship and pride. And it seems like if you're in this, and especially probably if you started at a young age,
right,
and you've gone through 12 years together of dance and things like that, and gone through all the battles and stuff together, that you probably develop some lasting friendships along the way, right?
Most definitely. And it's the neatest thing I will say is I've watched kids from very different friend groups maybe at school or different towns, because there's kids from Nevis, there's from Monaga, we have Park Rapids. It's been very cool to see these kids that maybe would never have spoke to each other kind of bond and have this like family feel. Like I know a lot of my older girls talk about that, like just like the dance family and just like that bond they have. And this past season was one of our most bonded, especially our older team groups that we've had. And I think we appointed captains this season. And I think that was like a huge part of it, because they really just like kind of took kids under their wing and made things so much better. And that leadership was
I was going to say, developing leadership is
Yeah.
another great thing that can come out of dance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't know, we talk about leadership sometimes on this podcast, or at least you try to, but leadership has been defined as basically lifting the morale of the people who you're trying to lead, you know, improving their attitudes and things like that.
And that can be a real thing. Like, somebody can change a day, like, for sure, by being a leader. You know, if you're having a bad day, and that, you know, that captain or that leader, you know, and it's not always somebody who's going to say something, just a silent leader too. We've got lots of those that, you know, just they show up, they work hard, they, you know, pump their teammates up, and you know,
it's a given that they have to lead by example.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely.
And showing up, being on time, and you know, things of that nature.
Putting in extra work.
And especially in a competition too, you know, I mean, it's been said about like baseball and stuff, like you can be a good leader in the clubhouse, but you know, if you're not really performing on the field, it only goes so far, right?
Right.
So you have to be one of the better dancers, or at least one of the more consistent dancers. Otherwise, the effort,
energy, attitude,
all those things,
those things.
Because it makes such a huge difference in leading a team. I would imagine in dance, but in life, is that if everybody's got a good positive attitude and everybody's moving in the same direction with a smile on their face, and they're bought in, and they're invested into the project, the production level is going to be completely different than a situation where you've got people who are just kind of showing up and mailing it in and just kind of going around with their head down. And it's up to the leader to transform the people who are down here and bringing them up here and praising their improvements and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Like that. So,
and that makes a big difference. We talk about that a lot. It's just, you don't have to be the best dancer.
No.
But you do have to give the best energy, and that should be with anybody, an attitude. I mean, that's huge. Yep, that's huge.
So, talk a little bit about the competitions. I mean, I guess you have already, but in more depth. So the older kids are doing 4 per year?
Yep, 4 per year.
And where do those generally take place?
I try and do you know, areas that are a little closer, so that people could drive if they wanted to, instead of like staying in a hotel all the time. But typically we're in St. Cloud, Sauk Rapids, Brainerd. We've been to I'm trying to think of, Moorhead. We used to be in Moorhead a lot, but they haven't had a few. Wapaton, we've been to Wapaton, which is so far, but it's really not. Like, it's only a few hours.
Isn't that like Fargo or something? I don't know
it's
if I've
past.
Ever been
it's
to
just
Wapaton.
There's nothing out there. So when you're traveling, it seems really far, but it's only a few hours. But I try and stay around the area. You know, Alexandria we were there this year.
Well, it's so great that you've got such a regional, you know, tight regional network that you can go to places like that. Yeah.
Exactly. It's really nice, and it's, you know, I would say Brainerd's probably the favorite, just because it's really close. But we were in St. Cloud twice this year, Brainerd and Alexandria.
And has Park Rapids ever hosted one?
We haven't, and I've actually brought it up to them, because I think eventually, maybe when the school is finished, it would be a good spot to kind of come. The only issue is hotels and restaurants, because there's a lot of people, and so it has to have a town that can hold.
That can support it.
And
we've got a lot of hotel rooms. I mean, aside from like the ones on 34, if it's, especially if it's, you know, in one of the shoulder seasons, there's probably plenty of room at resorts and stuff like that around to do that. But,
and that's an idea. They're always looking for places. And
well, you should talk to Derek Rickey from the chamber about that.
There you go. All right, Derek, I'll give you a call. He's my son's hockey coach.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, he's a good guy, Derek.
Yep.
All right, and so, but when they're held in, like, say, Brainerd, where is the competition?
Typically, it's at the high schools.
Okay.
Yep. So Brainerd High School, for sure, we're always there. When we were in Wapaton, it was at the college in Wapaton. So it kind of just depends. Crookston had one this year. We didn't go to Crookston, but That was also at the college. But typically it's the high schools.
So is it a stage that they dance on then, or
it depends on the high
auditorium, or
it depends on the
gym?
school. Typically it's the gym.
Okay.
But if it's a huge competition, if there's solos, duets, groups, that kind of thing, there is some schools that have the stage. If there's smaller teams too, sometimes they'll have the stage for the smaller teams, but typically it's the gym.
Okay.
Yeah, that's more kind of the Just for Kicks. We do a show at the stage at the high school, and it's great, and people love it. But the nice thing is when you're in the gym, when you are up in the bleachers to watch from above, it's better. It's better to watch from above. You can see everybody.
Yeah.
You can see the formation changes. We have a lot of kids. I mean, our biggest group this year, I think, was like 32 kids.
Oh, wow.
So you want to be able to watch them.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you need a big space. Yeah. And we've done production dances where there's 70 of them out on the floor together. So we need the gym.
Yeah, I'm going to say. Okay.
Yes.
So what are the different, I don't know how to say this, but, like you'd have like different events at like I'm thinking like in terms of a track meet, you'd have like 3 or 4, like, so what are the different classifications or
other things we kind of do?
Or is it just like the one group competition, or how does it work?
Yeah. So as far as competition goes, it's the big group ones that we do. But like I said, this last year we had 6 kids. I feel like it was 6. I feel like I'm stuttering now. That did solo.
Okay, so it's solo or even the big group.
Yes.
And are there like smaller groups too?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, we didn't have anybody do that. There is duet, group, small groups, solos. We had all the girls do solos this year. One of our dancers actually went to Bloomington to do her solo. And then the other girls did theirs in Brainerd. So, and that was at the studio.
Okay.
So, and it was very cool to see. And I actually, the only thing I did as far as coaching goes is they showed me their dances a couple times, but they completely choreographed it. They picked their own music. I just watched them a couple times, gave them like a couple like pointers, but it was all them, and I was very proud. Hazel Hall, she's a 4th grader. She took 3rd place. And then my daughter Brooklyn, she's a 6th grader, took 10th place. So
wow.
Yeah, so we had a couple girls place, and it was really out of, I think there was 22 in Brooklyn's group, and there was, I feel like it was around like 20 in Hazel's group. So good. I mean, the upper half of that. So. It was great, and it was fun. I got to go watch those girls, and it was fun. It was very fun. So
do they pick a style for solo too, or?
Yeah. So, and that's totally up to the girls. So lyrical or jazz. And then this last season, Just for Kicks added hip hop. So you can do hip hop as well.
Hip hop solo dance.
Yes. Yes.
Could you teach Caleb?
I know. I was just gonna say, let's do that. That's okay. Hip hop's the best. So.
All right, and so, but those aren't typically performed at the general competition.
It's. I mean, the day before typically is what. Yeah,
because so you don't have everybody watching.
No. I mean, there's a group of people that come, but it's not as like huge. The competition days, we start at like 7 a.m. and we're done at like 10 p.m. So it's like a full day, and that's just teams, not individuals. So solos usually are the day before.
So like for the group dances, like the big group dance and stuff like that, is it just dancing, or I mean, like I'm thinking like, could there be like props or flags or different things that get?
There are some teams that choose to do some prop stuff. We've never done a prop at competition. We've done props like at our spring shows and winter shows. But yes, we've seen some teams. We've been up against some teams with props. We've never done props.
Yeah, maybe but there's no rule against it or anything.
No.
Okay.
No.
And so how is it judged? Like, what are the criteria?
Yeah, so it's broken up. There's usually, I believe there's 3 to 4 judges. And it's broken up into like different categories. So technique, knowledge, routine, kind of like their actual like performance, like their facials, their energy, their stamina, like that kind of stuff. It's broken up into a different point system.
Okay.
And they kind of rank it off of that. And it's actually really nice because we as coaches love it because they have, right on the piece of paper is like, this is what you need to work on. Or so it's kind of nice.
Constructive criticism.
Yeah. And it prepares you for the following, competition. And we sit down with our teams and we go over it. And, of course, sometimes there's things that we're like, yeah, they're absolutely right. We need to work on, this kind of thing. And then it, like I said, it prepares us for the next weekend. Or the following weekend. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
The following weekend.
Usually, yes.
So
usually it's we have one in January. This year we had one at the end of January, end of February, and then we had like 3 like back to back. So it was like February, March.
Oh, so they're all kind of clustered together.
Not always. Usually though, it's March. It's January, March.
So this is a lot of it's in the winter time, right?
It is.
You stay away from the summer and the fall. Okay.
Yep. So in the summer, the only thing I do some camps in the summer. We do the 4th of July parade. It's more technique based, little fun camps for the little kids, and then of course the parade is a blast. So we'll be at the 4th of July parade coming up this year. So
and you don't do any kind of ballroom dancing or anything like that?
No, I get people ask a lot though, especially when
would there be a market for that? Or
I mean maybe
senior citizens.
I do get people who ask, so maybe who knows? I'd have to teach myself a little bit.
Well,
but I could try. I could do it.
Well, I mean, how hard could it really be? Right?
Yeah, gosh, I could do that. So. Yeah.
Okay, so what are the sort of the basic building blocks to making a good dancer? What are some of the fundamental things that they have to work on from when they're starting and as they progress?
For me, I'm a big all of us coaches are very different as far as our style goes, and I'm a big promoter of making the audience feel how you feel when you dance. And so for me, from littles on to bigs, I'm a big performance person, faces, energy. Yes, absolutely. We teach technique and absolutely we, go through the movements, but my main goal is more of the confidence and that when they're on stage, they look like they're having fun. And so I would say...
And that's a skill that can be taught and worked on.
I mean, I think so. Yeah, absolutely. And I think just because of the way I coach, I think kids, they want to be the way... that
they want to emulate
portraying I want energy, I want faces, I want you guys to make those judges stand up when you're dancing for them, and I want them for sure, I want it in their soul, I want them to have that passion. But we have little certificates in our program that we have pirouette certificates and arabesque certificates and all these different skills, Elsicones and jumps, leaps, all that kind of thing. And it's kind of nice when they're little because they really want to earn those certificates.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Splits and, all that kind of thing. So we try, sometimes it gets a little difficult towards show times to do the certificates and have enough time to do all of that stuff because we only have a little bit of time with them weekly. Sure. But we try really hard, monthly to have a goal. So, usually the first month we work on our splits, and the second month we work on our pirouettes, and the third month we work on, Firebirds or whatever. So we try, from little on to big, that's, a goal that they have. So, and it has been really nice for them.
Do you give them homework?
Yes. So, not as much when they're little, but we do use an app that we post their weekly practice videos. And you can definitely tell the kids that go home and utilize that app. You can see who knows their routines. You can see who pushes themselves a little bit more. This last season with my older team, they actually had a piece of paper that they had to come in with weekly, and I would sign off on it. We did different technique videos, different strength videos, and they had to do that for me, so many times a week. And I can honestly say it helped. And they truly put in the work to do it. And it helped a lot. So there's more when you're little, make sure you go home and practice. And they know that that's, something we expect. So
do you recommend that they do outside strength or cardio training or anything like that?
Yeah, we kind of talked to them, especially this summer towards the end of the year. Don't lose your skills. You should be stretching weekly. It takes, a snap. It can be, your splits can be gone in 2 weeks if you're not stretching, So I, especially with our older, competing kids, make sure you guys are practicing at home and, the parents, sometimes I've emailed the parents, this past season with one of my second, third grade classes. And I told them, I'm like, hey, we have competition in a couple weeks. Please make sure your dancer is, every day, have them practice a routine. And I can honestly say that team worked hard. They actually did what I had asked them of, and they ended they took first place in their last competition, and they worked towards it. And now they know what that feels like. Mm-hmm. Like if you work towards something and it matters, right. Like it really matters. So yeah, we would hope that those kids are working at home and continuing their skills. And
they can see that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
And that result. And
if you want to get better, you got to put in the work, especially if, you only see us once a week. We can only do so much in that amount of time.
Yeah.
So they need to go home and they need to, practice those skills. Some kids say they do it in their yard. I don't know how they do it in the winter, but they've told me they do.
So I was going to ask you about diet and nutrition. It just occurred to me. I remember I went to law school with a young woman who had grown up and was a ballet dancer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I remember her telling me that, now this is quite a while ago, so this would have been more of an old school thing, but that they were actually telling them that they ought to smoke cigarettes
to lose weight. Oh, great!
Or just I don't know if it
isn't that crazy?
Yeah. They ought to smoke cigarettes. Now, obviously, you're not telling
we
kids
are not doing that
to smoke cigarettes. But what kind of vape do you recommend? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, no, not my thing.
No, but no.
You should hear my own children. They see somebody smoking outside, and they're like, "Mom, they're smoking."
Oh, I know.
I'm like, shh, they can do what they want, but you guys aren't going to do
that.
Don't
do that. No. But it's funny that they used to tell ballets to do that, but.
We do not do that. No.
Do you give them any advice on diet and nutrition?
No, I haven't ever done that. I think it's safe to say that, absolutely. I think you want everybody to be healthy. And I've told them competition days, pack a healthy snack, that kind of stuff. But no, we've never had.
But you don't tell them
an
it's on the app,
conversation.
You don't only have this many calories or nothing like that.
No, we're not mean. Eat the Cheetos.
Oh, you tell them? Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Right. Well, I suppose if you're dancing and everything, you're going to work it all off.
Yeah.
But
no, we make them work in class. They're sweating. Yep.
So it's a good.
But we definitely. we talk a lot about the strength behind movements. You can't do a jump if you don't have strength, you know? So we, my sister especially is really good as a coach getting those kids to work on their muscles. And, I always check, peek over at her classes and they're doing wall sits and, we do, you want those kids. That's how you're going to get better.
Brutal, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
And they work up to it every year. I see them. It's longer and longer.
Yeah.
But no, it's good.
And do you collaborate with some of the other kind of studios nearby? I noticed there was one out in Walker.
Yeah.
And,
actually.
Bemidji
so I coached in Walker.
Okay.
Yeah. So I had that program. It was before COVID. And when COVID kind of hit, then, that kind of faded a little. And then I had my little boy and I just knew Park Rapids was growing, as far as classes and kids and all that. And I just knew I couldn't handle both and have this brand new baby. And so I actually had that program for 3 years. And then one of my friends, and she actually worked for me as well, took it over. And then this past season, my coach, who still coaches for us, Aaron, took over the Walker dance program.
Oh, okay.
So, and we, Aaron and I talk all the time. So we definitely collaborate. There's another director in Belgrade, Just for Kicks director in Belgrade. Her and I talk a lot. And you definitely, you branch out to the different Just for Kicks and especially when we're at directors convention, we get time to chat and collaborate, and it's kind of what it's about. It's kind of meeting up and seeing what everybody else is doing and what's working for people and what's not. And so definitely.
Do you see yourself continuing to do this in Park Rapids, or have you ever given any thought to kind of moving up the chain of until you're higher up in the company, or
what's my plan?
Yeah.
So I actually talked about this at my show too, because my own daughters. So Brooklyn is going into 7th grade and Hayden's going into 4th grade, but they ask me all the time when I'm retiring because they're like, we're taking over your dance program. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, girls. I tell them
but they might though.
Maybe someday, but I truly have never thought about retiring. Like, my job's the best. I'm very lucky. I get really emotional, like, thinking about how wonderful my job is. Like, that's what I get to do. I get to hang out with awesome kids, and I get to be around, like, great other coaches and friends, and I get to, I walk into the school and I have a bunch of little girls, like, running up to me and hugging me, and it's truly the best. And I don't think about when I'm going to be done. So I tell my girls they need to start their own program somewhere else. Yeah. But so nearby.
You like the area.
I love it here. Yes.
And obviously you
I
started
made my
a family
husband move
here.
Up here. Yeah.
Oh, so he's not from here?
No, he is from Twin Lakes, Wisconsin, which is kind of like by Lake Geneva. It's about 45 minutes away from Chicago.
Okay.
So so he moved up here. He played football at St. Cloud State with my brother.
Oh,
so
that's how
we met. And I actually moved up here to finish nursing school.
Okay.
Which I did. But after, I worked at the school for a few years as the school nurse, and I took the dance program back over, and I knew I wanted to be home with my kids, and so I kind of just focused on dance and being that as my career and raising my babies. So
he was a ball player.
Yeah, he played football.
Yeah.
Yep.
What does he do any coaching like
he
that?
Coaches. Yeah, he helps coach the high school football team.
Oh.
So yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And he loves it.
Yeah.
We're both coaches. We're never home.
Both working with young people.
We are. Yeah.
And you must love that. So
we do. We're very lucky. Both of us are.
So beyond, I noticed that it gets abbreviated JFK, so I'm going to call it JFK. So kind of like beyond JFK, when you see your students start to graduate and stuff like that, like, do you follow up with them and, like, kind of, do you see them sort of using the skills that they've learned through your studio and as it applies to life and stuff like that?
I definitely think that for sure. And in a wonderful way, a lot of them, keep in touch with me. I actually had a dancer this year who sent me a video of her getting engaged this last year. And I just loved it because I'm like, she wanted me to know. And it was so important to her. And it meant so much that, like, she would want me to know. But yeah, I do keep in contact with a lot of them. And some of their, like, siblings are in dance still. So I get to see them at, like, the dance shows. Some of them come help me at my dance shows. And of course, I've got the ones who still work for me. So
and it's a lot of work, I would imagine, to do all of this. Right?
It is. Yeah, I've done it for so long. I just feel like it's kind of a way of, like, a part of my life, and it is definitely a lot of work, but it's wonderful, and I love it, and I wouldn't want it any other way. And I actually feel really, like, lucky that that's what I get to do, and I just love it. So
just in closing, if you were gonna, if somebody was asking you, like, well, I don't know, should I put my child in dance, and what is she really gonna get from this? Like, what would be your overall kind of answer to that question?
Yeah, I would definitely, of course, we want little dancers. Yeah. We want them all, but I can say, and I've said it already, but just that it's more than just dancing. And it truly is. And you can grow so many skills, like we've talked about, just from being a part of it and being a part of a team and having, like, standards of, like, what we expect and discipline. Yeah. And kids need that. Sadly, there's not a ton of that anymore in the world. And I definitely can say that it can do that for a kid. And I have truly watched little shy little girls become confident, like, women. And I definitely think that it can be a great skill for your future. So we would love to have them.
Wonderful. So if people are looking for you and JFK, where would they be able to find information about it?
Yeah, so we have a website. It's just Park Rap. You can just Google Park Rapids Just for Kicks, and it'll pop up. We have our website there. We also have our Facebook page, which I encourage people to follow, just because that's usually what I, post new pictures and videos and kind of like what we're doing. I'm trying, get people in the know by using social media, of course, but posting new classes. We also have our band app, which once you join dance, that's kind of, everybody gets onto that band app, and I send out information that way as well.
I saw something about you can take a trial class or something.
Yeah. So in August, which you can always take, you can join anytime throughout the season. We welcome people at any point.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. And which is great, because some people are like, oh, I didn't know it started already, or,
So there's no registration date or anything like that?
We do have, registration is live right now, but they can join at any point.
Okay.
Our classes fill rather quickly, so I always encourage people to just to kind of check it out. But we've added classes if there's classes that have waiting lists, and but in September is when our season, our true season begins, and September 4th is our meet and greet night. So I always encourage people to come meet us.
September 4th.
September 4th. When I believe it's the 4th this year. It's Wednesday. It's the week before school starts.
Where do you have that at the Armory?
At the Armory, yeah. Okay. And my staff is there, and we do sizing for uniforms, and you can, win prizes, and it's just nice for the kids to come meet us and see our faces, because I think it can be kind of intimidating sometimes if you don't know where you're going, or so then they get to come check it out, come see the studio, see where we're at. Meet everybody. There's tons of people there. It's kind of overwhelming sometimes, but it's great. So that's another avenue that they can come kind of check it out and ask questions, or give me a call.
Well, Kaitlin Popanda, it's been really nice talking to you and learning about this. I think I know about 100% now more about dance than I did before we started this conversation.
I was going to say, are you sure you don't want to learn something before I leave?
It might be a little bit too late for me, but I still want to talk about getting that hip hop solo dance going for Caleb here. Maybe we can integrate that into our marketing material.
There you go. We could do a little jam out here.
All right. Well, Kaitlin Popanda, thank you again, and we'll look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on. I was very excited to be here, so thank you.
Well, good. All right. Thanks very much.
Yeah.